No, I don't.
What time is it live scheduled for?
We're going to go live in like 2 minutes.
Okay.
So,
sweet. Do I look okay? Do I sound okay? Do you need me to play with anything? Or
Matt, you good? Okay, cool. Yeah, we're getting the thumbs up.
Are you good with the space on top or whatever you do if you do anything like that?
Yeah, that's good. The only thing is I'm getting a little bit of feedback from your machine, so I might need to turn my voice down just a little bit. Or are you using an external mic? Maybe move it away a little bit from the speaker.
Yeah, I'm using
okay,
Yeti.
All right, no, that's sounding better now.
Well, let's let me see.
Yeah, no, I'm not hearing it now anymore. I was just for a moment, but should be good.
Switch microphone or speaker. Yeah. I don't even know. I assume it's coming from the external mic. I don't know how to look here to tell. But do you hear me good now?
Yeah. No, that sounds better.
Is there a way you can put them back in the corner?
Yeah, I will. So I got him back on the screen.
If there is any issue, you could just let me know, and I can always just put in my earpiece.
Okay.
And, talk off of my earpiece.
Cool. No, I think we're good now. So we're gonna kind of broad. Hey, welcome everyone to episode 17 of the BombCast. Jason here with my guest, Michael, who I am super excited to be talking with you guys, sharing some key strategies of how he's using video, how his agents are using video in their businesses. Before we go any further, Michael, go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
Thank you. So my name is Michael Meier. I'm the broker of a brokerage firm in New York City, the Big Apple. And aside from that, I have a side coaching company for real estate agents across the nation looking to up their game and sell more and do more. I'm a big proponent and avid user of using video to engage, to develop relationships, to convert leads at a higher level, ultimately put more money in the pockets of my agents and, of course, myself while doing something that I enjoy and love doing. So, that's who I am.
And if you're familiar with the real estate video influencers, guys, Michael was one of our influencers. He's doing some incredible stuff with video, which is why we went out, asked him to come on the show, share a little bit about his insights, some of the things that he's doing that's been really unique in getting kind of people set up with video, how he's been using video in his own business. So I want to kick things right off the bat, Michael, and just kind of start with a little bit of the things that we were talking about yesterday around really kind of how you started to see the power of video as a tool for personal branding and how agents are really leveraging that to get more business done.
Yeah, so I started using video back in 2008, and back then I was doing really luxurious photo shoots and videos. So back then it was a series called Selling Higher with Michael Meier, and I would go around New York City on a Ducati motorcycle. And while I'm on the bike, I have a professional photographer in one of our luxurious apartments that we're marketing for sale, and they're taking photos of the apartment and they're doing a lifestyle photo shoot. So we have these gorgeous models in there and they're doing these lifestyle photo shoots. I'm driving around the city on the bike talking to you about the neighborhoods, the buildings, the history. You're basically watching because the bike's hot and because the models look great. But really my goal is to keep your eyeballs on and give you a lot of knowledge. And by the end of watching every series, you'd walk away with, wow, that was a sexy video, but you'd also walk away with a lot of data and knowledge. So I started over there. That was high production, very expensive, put my name on the map, so to speak.
Right.
And got people that had TV shows and stuff like that interested in talking to me. So I saw in that experience that video and putting myself out there and doing creative things put me on the map. Nobody knew who I was. I was running like the #1 team in New York City at the time, and nobody knew who I was other than like people I was cold calling. But all of a sudden now people are knowing me across the nation from video. And that was my first foyer into video. And wow, all of a sudden people are watching me.
Right. And this is like 2008. So, I mean, think about this. This is like early days of video. We so often think, video's been around for a while, and the reality is it's still so fresh. And in fact, I went back into your account and actually looked at the very first video that you ever uploaded on YouTube.
Wow, I don't know what that is.
We would maybe show that as an example before you got into any of the camera and the motorcycles and all that stuff. Do you know what video this is?
I honestly have no idea. I'm a little scared right now.
All right. Well, so we're going to roll this. Matt, if you want to roll it, show it everyone. This is you in an apartment doing a one-on-one interview with a property that sounds like it had been on the market for a little bit and had some very famous people that had been in that apartment. We'll let it roll.
We're in the heart of Soho right now. We are located at 620 Broadway. I have Bleecker Street behind me, and I'm proud to tell you that this will be the last time a broadcast is made out of this apartment. You might recognize it because Whoopi Goldberg was interviewed here. Elle Macpherson, for example, she was photographed out of here. This apartment's been on the market now for over 2 years with different large firms. I'm proud to tell you that in a couple of days, this apartment's going to be sold. Can't wait to tell you more about this story. We're gonna go and talk to the owners. Come with me. Hey Nancy, thanks for sitting down with me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Michael.
I know you have like over 3,000 square feet and you're moving.
All right. So I don't know if you're able to see that full clip, Michael, but you're in the loft, you're talking, you're doing some storytelling. It's pretty, it's good quality, but you're definitely not, on a motorcycle and I wanted to show that part just for the audience to say, one, when you first get started with video, it's going to look a lot different. How did you get comfortable on camera? Talk us through a little bit of that process. Was it always kind of natural for you, or did you have other experiences that kind of fed into it?
Yeah, so I saw a little clip there. If I'm not mistaken, that's like pre-facial hair, glasses. We're going back, way back.
Going back.
And actually, that apartment did sell, and I was the third broker on the listing, and it was a very creative space. And one of the reasons that owner hired me and worked with me was because they wanted somebody doing something creative and different. And ended up being that it was a photographer that owned the apartment, crazy enough. I didn't even know that at the beginning.
Huh.
So it definitely when things start over there, yeah, there wasn't the motorcycle, there wasn't anything like that. There was just me trying to share an experience. That was really a while ago. I think maybe in that one, maybe I interviewed the owner or talked about the experience or something like that.
Well, it's fascinating. And what I loved about this and really why I wanted to show it to everyone is the tactics haven't changed that much over the last 10 years. I think that video was posted in 2008 and you're still working to tell the story. And something that 10 years ago was seen as creative and helped you get a property sold is still the thing that's helping you get more business done. So much so that now you're helping your agents understand how to leverage video. Tell us a little bit about how you kind of shifted a little bit of your brokerage, the mentality of being kind of, you used the word yesterday when we were talking about kind of being a talent agency for agents. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, awesome. I'm glad that you brought that up. I've never even actually said that, in public. So thank you for saying that. I built a very successful team at a top brokerage in New York City, and then I opened up my brokerage. And for a while, it was all about me. It was all about, I went out and got listings, and then I would tell my story, and I would show my properties, and it was always me. I mean, it worked. I did well. But over time, I wanted to grow and I wanted to have a greater influence. My deep passion really is to have an influence, to feel like I'm doing something of value, to feel like I serve a purpose. I think we all have that same feeling. And so I started saying to myself, well, if I take myself out of the equation for a second and start focusing on my agents and other people that are surrounded, that I surround myself with, and I start focused on helping them build a brand and them telling their story and make it about them, that's something I'm doing that's a good thing to do for them. I feel good about it. And at the same time, I get to learn about them more and I get to see their story, which is kind of fun and exciting. So that's really the shift is now not about Michael Meier per se, but more about, the agents and awesome people that he meets, he gets to interact with. It's not even always my agents. Sometimes I'm at celebrity events and I get to interview people there. So I enjoy witnessing, seeing, and documenting other people's stories just as much, if not maybe more than my own, actually.
And so as you're working with agents and they're coming into your office, they may or may not have a lot of exposure to video, maybe their experience of kind of getting on camera. How do you help kind of coach them along and kind of get them to the point where they're able to be more comfortable and they're really starting to kind of leverage the power of some of the things that you've built and then translate that into their own business?
Yeah, you just gave me a great idea, by the way. I'm going to film an entire process of where I sit down with an agent, I create a video because I think it's interesting to watch, but I'll tell you what happens there. I'm in in one of our office. This is my office and it's a media room that we have in our company, right? So it's just a room where we have like this lot of, stuff around here. And since there's always like junk around, I always focus the video on one spot with a nice picture behind me. So I keep it really simple. So first of all, first tip for anyone out there doing this for yourselves, you don't need to worry about how's your whole office look or any of that kind of stuff. Just find one spot, with the picture behind you and boom, you got yourself a studio, okay? Second thing is what happens is every single month I block out 15 minutes, believe it or not, 15 minutes for an agent to walk into my office, sit down in a chair right next to me. And so, I have simply one chair here and there's another chair that sits right next to me. And the agent sits down and it usually starts off with, I don't know what we should talk about. Now, this is in a format called Meier Talks, where I interview my agents and we digitally market them to their networks to help them grow and help them convert more of the leads that they have, build relationships. So usually they'll start off with that, and then I'll laugh for a second, and I'll usually say something like, just a question, what did you do this week? And they'll be like, I was a little bit of an annoying week, sometimes they'll say. And I'll be like, oh, what happened? And they'll be like, I had this client that stood me up. I went to meet them, blah, blah, blah. And this whole story, and I'm listening to this, I'm like, that sucks. We should talk about that because it's real, it's passionate, it's authentic, and people will rally behind you and make you succeed. It's not always that they come in here with this story about how they crushed a $3 million listing and they sold it in one showing. That's not real. That happens once in a while, and definitely talk about that when it happens. But realize that if you talk about that all the time, everybody's going to call BS on you. So I just get people to tell their story. I'll give you one we did yesterday, another one. Agent in my office comes, sits down. Michael, I just came back from Florida. I was in Florida the last 2 weeks. I don't have anything to talk about, right? I said, okay, great. So did you do any deals when you were in Florida? Actually, yeah, I did one rental deal. How did it happen? You were in Florida. Well, I partnered with another agent in the office, and I spoke to the client. I gave it to the agent in the office. He went to show it. Then we had a conference call, and we closed the deal. I said, tell me more. He goes, I made a list of 75 apartments for them to see. I said, you seem like you did a lot of work in Florida. He said, yeah. I said, turn on the camera. Let's talk about it. And then we had a whole story about what does it mean to work as a team. So everything that people do every day and every week, there's just, I think people don't realize how many stories there are in their day. And the last 10 minutes was a story over here, right? We started this and I didn't know you were on the computer screen and you're hearing me talking. This was like, you know, whatever's happened before. People that don't know before we started. And there's a story there. It was kind of funny. It could have been something we talked about. We just did talk about it.
Absolutely. So when you think about that and you think about content, so you're doing the Meier talks, you're helping your agents you're building those types of videos, but you're pretty prolific in other videos that you're doing as you're continuing to build kind of your brand and your influence. Talk a little bit about kind of the Minute with Meier. And before you do, I have an example. So we're going to pull it. Michael's sitting in Times Square. I'm assuming, let's set up kind of the production of this. It looks like your videos maybe on a tripod, like camera phone, professional camera. How have you set up the production of this video?
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you in a moment when I see which one exactly you pull up. But if this is me in Times Square, potentially.
Yes, yep, you're there.
Fantastic. I'm in Times Square. There's a lot of people moving behind me and there's a lot of action going on. And it looks like I might be on like using some crazy funky big camera, which I just bought this one, and you don't need it, but I'm just having fun. So the camera in Times Square, yeah, that's a really technologically advanced camera, and it goes something like this. It's my iPhone. So this is my awesome camera. And honestly, I feel like an idiot for buying this one. But I'm enjoying it and it's turning into a hobby of mine. So I'm going to have fun and level up, but you don't need it. It's not what got me to where I am. This got me to where I am.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So let's show this clip and then let's talk a little bit more kind of about the process and how you find the content. Matt, if you want to roll it.
Here are 4 questions you should ask yourself in deciding, do I list my property now or do I wait for later? Question number 1 is, where are you in the market? Is it the middle of the winter where it's freezing outside and no buyers are around? Maybe you should wait. Question number 2 is, what is your competition? So if there is no one else on the market competing against you, you are the only 3-bedroom in town, you might want to go to market now because no one else has anything else they could buy. You could get a good price. But if there are hundreds of apartments on the market, it might not be the best time. Third question you should ask yourself is, what is the market perception? Does everyone think the market's hot right now? If they do, they'll pay a good price. If they think the market's in the toilet, not a great time to list. And fourth, is there a buyer right now looking and interested in your home? Because if there is, you might want to line up a bunch of other buyers to compete against them. Keep in mind, supply and demand is the name of the game. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.
All right. So in literally a minute, you touch on 3 key questions that people should be thinking about in the process. And you walk on camera, you walk off. It's super simple. It doesn't even look like you have an external mic.
I got nothing. I have literally this phone that somebody's holding and filming me. Yeah.
And so, yeah, and if you're just joining us, welcome to the BombCast. Jason here. Saw a bunch of people just pop on with Michael. We're talking process. We're talking content. We're talking about how Michael's shooting his videos, how it's influencing his business. Now, these types of like short snippet kind of education-focused videos you're doing on a semi-regular basis. How is that providing value for you kind of in your business, and why are you kind of committed to doing this?
Yeah, so twofold. I have 2 kind of videos that I do primarily. I have these, videos where I go and I educate consumers, tips on how to stage your home or negotiation tips, stuff like that. And then I have videos that are geared towards real estate agents. Actually, most of my content is real estate agent content. And those are, how to negotiate on behalf of a buyer, how to negotiate on behalf of a seller, mistakes all the agents, agents make a lot of mistakes. So what exactly are they and how can you correct them and fix them? Marketing techniques. Really, I just take my educational coaching courses and I break them up into these little 1-minute, highlights. And what is done for me is, number 1, people tune in and actually spend the minute watching the Minute with Meier, because I, in a very short period of time, cover a lot of ground so they can learn a lot in 1 minute. It's the same thing that when I do it on social media, I call it Snapucation. It's real estate education in a snap, and it's, just 1 minute bite size. So what it does for me is it gets me an audience because people want to learn, and I'm giving away really good material for free. And for consumers, people that are looking to buy, sell, rent, it's giving them knowledge and education and information in a very quick bite-sized form that they can do. And I even created the consumer videos so that my agents would see what they should be doing. It was just kind of a format example. I don't even have that many of them. I have a lot more real estate ones, but I wanted to get people that you can do just what everything that I do for recruiting of agents and to get people to sign on for my coaching courses is the same thing that agents should be doing with the consumer. They are recruiting buyers, sellers, or renters, and it's a relationship-based, value-giving game. It's the same game.
So Ryan just asked a great question, and I think you were kind of touching on it, so maybe you could clarify further. Is your strategy of making videos for realtors for recruiting, or is it to show yourself as the real estate expert to everyone, potential clients and realtors? How do you kind of think about it from that perspective?
Yeah, so I have kind of two businesses here. I have the brokerage business, and the brokerage business works by attracting agents, so recruiting, and increasing the IQ of our company by bringing in awesome agents. And so I want agents that are attracted to education. So people that look and ask me questions and respond to my educational videos are the type of agents that I want, right? So it is a great attraction tool for me for real estate agents. Right. And that's a big thing for me. And on the other side, for the consumer side, it's also I'm putting out valuable content so that my firm is branded as an education-based company where we're always trying to educate the consumers. And Meier Talks is also me trying to take my agents and talk to the consumers. So I have two different approaches. If you don't own a brokerage, you shouldn't be focused on talking to real estate agents. You should be focusing on talking to the consumer, of course. Those are the likes and comments that you want on your wall. Those are what you want the targeting to be focused on. But I kind of play both sides at this point.
So obviously, like you've doubled down on video. You're doing a lot. You're doing it for kind of both sides, both brand equity, your equity. How are you measuring? And this is a question I know a lot of times comes up. People are kind of always curious about, how do you measure the success of the content that you're putting out? Do you think about it from a dollar and cents perspective? Do you think about it from a brand equity perspective? Like, how do you view whether or not this is working for you in your business or not?
Yeah, it's a great question. And people, they ask me this all the time also. And the reality is that it's a hard question to answer because, first of all, I think the preface of the question has an error in it. The preface of the question is, if I do X, then what exactly is my Y? What is the one-to-one? And it doesn't work like that in branding. And I treat video as branding. It's not a direct response campaign. It's not how many impressions do I put on, do I need to have on Zillow in order to get somebody to click on the ad and call me? It's not that kind of science. It's branding, and branding is relationship building. So it would be me asking you how many times you have to talk to someone at a party before they actually think you're friends, or it's not a public question.
Right.
You know that if you just talk to them one time, unless it's a really deep, meaningful conversation, you might not build a great relationship. Now, at the same time, if you talk to them one time and you meet them in some really crazy time where something's going on, I don't know, there's a fire at the party you're in and you're all really scared and you guys are huddling and you have one opportunity to talk to 5 minutes, but it's intense and it's about your life and it's like, I got 5 minutes to live and let me tell you what my dreams are. Yeah, that one conversation will make you lifelong friends, but you can't quantify it like that.
Right.
So it really depends in that way. But the question is, well, how do I measure it? I'm a business person. How do I measure it? I put content out there. And if I don't see that anything is happening other than me feeling good and ego-driven, then I'm not going to do it anymore. So my stuff that I put out there, it does get people to contact me. When people hire me, I ask them why. And generally speaking, they're going to tell me, well, we see you all over the place. People associate seeing you a lot with success, first of all. Right. And so, the reality is a lot of Instagram like huge people out there, they're not all rich, but you think they are. because they're out there all the time.
Right.
They monetize it though. They have the opportunity to become rich if they're smart with their business about it. So it's valuable, but it doesn't mean that they're monetizing it. So what I would say everybody watching this is you need to do the videos, you need to be consistent, you need to be pumping out content, but you need to treat it like a business and monetize it, where just getting likes isn't the goal. The goal is to get engagement. And the goal is, if you go and create great content before you go to meet with someone on a listing appointment, you make sure that they've seen your content so that you look like a celebrity showing up at their door. They're going to hire you. Everyone hires a celebrity.
Right. Well, and I think a lot of it, what it does too, is it continues to extend the know, like, and trust. And we know in business, that's ultimately the deciding factor of who you choose to do business with. And so with the content that you're putting out, that's effectively what you're saying is, this is how you know me, this is how you like me, and this is how you're going to trust me. And these are all the things. That's the guiding light for the type of content that you should be putting out. I know a lot of times people feel stuck of, I don't know what type of content to do. I don't know what types of videos. Do a video that's going to get someone to do or feel that way about you, whether they're going to trust you more, like you more, or have a feeling that they are going to choose to do business with you versus someone else. And the benefit is also it's going to weed out those people that maybe would choose not to work with you because those are typically not the type of clients you want to take on anyways. So I think that's kind of a key thing. Trend-wise, I'm always curious, Michael, you're paying attention to what other people are doing, paying attention to what's kind of happening in the video space. When it comes to the type of content that's working well, what's trending well, what are you paying attention to, or what's something that you kind of seen pop up last 6 months or so?
Good question.
Or an idea that you saw someone, you're like, I want to start doing that, or something, a new tactic that you've kind of implemented in your business.
I hope this answers your question. It's just something that's been on my mind a lot. So it's something I think is going to happen. Right now in the real estate space, you have a lot of talk and a lot of fear mongering about disruptors in our space. Disruptors are what people refer to as non-traditional real estate agents, maybe discount brokerages, do-it-yourself type things. And there's a lot of fear among real estate agents that we are going to take the way of a travel agent, for example, where there really aren't that many of them anymore. So people are really, really scared. And every day there's some other new company that is a different business model, and real estate agents are freaking out. A thought that I've heard other people talking about and that I'm really interested in talking about and really bringing a strong narrative this year about is a traditional real estate agent. We have a traditional real estate firm. And when I mean traditional real estate, I mean full service, full customer support, full value. Okay. That's what I mean by traditional. Versus someone that you will pay to list your home, will disappear, and you're paying them to just distribute your listing on Zillow, which anybody can do for $5 themselves. And so we are a value-based traditional firm. And as a traditional firm, the reason people that are hiring us versus the cheaper guy is because they want us to guide and manage them through the entire process. And they want to feel like they have someone that they can talk to that understands them, and that's going to help them make the right decisions, right? They're going to have that private wealth manager person, right? So the reason I think video is so important, put aside the fact that it's just smart business to get yourself out there in front of people, I also think that that is going to be your major first line of defense against somebody coming in and undercutting you. And I honestly think it might be the only line of defense that you should or need to have, because this over here is showing you me. And you can hire me to sell or work to buy your property. Or you can go pay less for a website stock photo of something or someone that's not even a real estate agent. It's a stock photo that you will click and pay a certain amount of money. They may send you something in mail, or some random person will show up for 5 minutes. There's no relationship, and they don't even try to tell you that there is a relationship. They're not trying to pitch relationship. That's not their business model. Problem that real estate agents are making is they're not realizing that relationships is the business model. And so we should be saying we don't compete against a discounter. They should be saying this is a business model and it's great. Go get it if you want. And this is our business model. We think it's a lot more valuable, and this is what it happens. So I think people should be starting to use video to educate, not only to get consumers, but to give consumers the understanding that we are all, as agents, individual businesses. Every agent is their own business, and businesses need to go and communicate with the public. And that's why every single individual needs to go out there and build their own personal brand and have an influence. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think, we pay attention to a lot of what's happening. And if you're watching and you got a comment or you like it, drop us, let us know your thoughts. We're going to try to wrap things up here. We try to keep this to about half hour to be respectful of everyone's time. So if you've got a question, drop it in as well. I'll make sure Michael answers it. But I think you're spot on in that sense that it is about the relationships. And it's about basically shifting it from being a product that you're offering, which is the home, which everyone can offer, to now the product is the service, the experience that you're creating for someone, and you are in complete control of being able to create a better experience than anyone else. And that becomes your unique differentiator, saying, we're going to take care of you. We're going to create an experience for you that, frankly, no one else is really going to be able to do because of X, Y, and Z. And the hyper-local nature of this, it doesn't matter whether your, quote, competitor in a city over or in a state over is doing the exact same thing. It is only meaningful to the people that are in the area that you are focused on. And so I think the hyper-local nature of that is also something that's so fascinating within real estate, because it's not a across-the-board sweeping generalization thing, because what you're going to do with someone with a property in New York City in an apartment is going to look very different than somebody that's selling a vacation home in Florida versus the person that's helping the first-time home buyers in California. All of those experiences are going to be unique. And it's about paying attention to the customer and knowing what it is they're looking for on that side of things. So I think you're spot on, man. Ashton just dropped a comment in saying he's been a fan of you from years ago, following you on Snapchat, just checked out your YouTube page. He said, hashtag keep it up, man. So doing some good job there.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap things up. I have a closing question that I always love to ask our guests, people who are thinking about business. And Michael doesn't know I'm getting ready to ask him this question, so it's going to be absolutely off the cuff. So I apologize, but I think you'll be able to crush it, Michael. When you think about the next 6 months of business, what's one thing that you want to begin implementing that you think is going to make a significant difference to your business?
So this year, like my word for the year is expansion. And that can mean a lot of different things, but it means growth. And we've done a lot of Meier talks, and we've done the stuff that everybody needs to do. And we, as the company and as a leader of this company, I'm looking to elevate that game. So all this year, it's all about using video to personally brand the identities and help our agents have greater influence. The Meier talks is almost like a trial thing, like come into my office, let's talk for 15 minutes and let's do it. And then it ended up being the thing that my agents love the most. And we offer them so much. We offer them technology and CRMs and all this kind of stuff. We're like big into that stuff, we're big tech stuff. But the biggest thing they like is these little 15-minute get-togethers and creating a 1-minute video for them. So we said, you know what? We want to really elevate that game, and now not just show them sitting in a seat in the office, but showing them out in the field, meeting with people, show they're a real person, not just behind our Manhattan skyline. So that is really what we plan on doing for the next 6 months. And I urge and recommend anybody join us in this effort and want to come. And if you're in New York City, come, jump in a video. Happy to do something with you. I don't care where you work. We're all in this together. That's my feeling on things. I'm happy to elevate the game with anybody who wants to.
Awesome. So if people want to go check out Michael, what's your Facebook page, YouTube channel, places they can go and kind of see what you're doing, man?
Yeah. So you can go to, if you want to go to my personal website, it's michaelmeiernyc.com. That's MICHAEL. And Meier is MEIER. 2 E's and I in the middle, NYC.com. Or you can go to our, brokerage website, MeierRealEstate.com. Or you can catch me on Facebook. Please go like me, connect with me, be friends with me. And you can find me on my page, Michael Meier Real Estate Tips. It is a real estate agent, page. So education, stuff is there. And you can also just find that at facebook.com/Michael Meier NYC. Don't just like it, say, hi, I saw you. I'd like to talk to you. Give me a smile. Give me a hands up. Don't just be a silent stalker.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining. On our next episode, we're coming at you next week. We're going to have a automotive expert talking to us about how they're using video to build relationships, connect with more people. So make sure you join us. We're coming to you next Tuesday, a little earlier in the week. We're actually going to be out in New York City, and a couple of our marketing team members get to go hang out with Gary Vaynerchuk for a day. So we're looking forward to that. So everyone, we'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you, Michael, for being on. A fantastic guest. Thank you for everybody that joined us, and we'll see you guys all next week.
Bye, everybody.